Hi, this is Darrell. So we are going to swap the motors over in the new motor mod. Um, and yeah, so we've already done a lot of them here. This is the last one that we have to swap out. It's a pretty simple process. So we'll start by unplugging. Oh, it's moving on us. Of course it is. So we have these pre-installed, we went around and installed these quick disconnect plugs so that we can swap between one motor to the other as we do all our trials to see what setup works best. But in order to do it, it makes it a little easier with the worm gear not right up against the bolts that we're disconnecting, and it's not going to cooperate. So I found it easy. The easiest tool, you have all the Allen wrenches that are sent by DOF. A long screwdriver with a bit on it makes getting the ones underneath a lot easier to get to. So I start out by just loosening these bottom two. And once you get these out, you can kind of let the rig do what it wants to do. It'll go right underneath the worm gear and that sensor shaft, or this shaft in here, to get to it. And what I found helps out is if you loosen it, leave just the top two in and loosen it, and it'll kind of hold everything on. Get it to where you can hold it by hand. And at this point I can let it come back here. You do have to get to the spindle there, or the coupler, sorry. Loosen that guy up. And if this part's kind of tricky, the other thing you can do is just, I'm holding supporting the weight of the motor in the back here. You can pull these off. These couplers that these come with will separate, so you can see here that it actually separated. I still have the that will stay on there. It just comes apart. So you can move that out of your way there. Pry the old half the coupler off, which this one's being difficult. The last one, of course, is always going to be the most difficult. We'll get a screwdriver in there to just give her a little nudge. There it is. So, other half comes apart real easy with a little persuasion. With that off, new motor, and I've been facing the wires down. And to make my life a little easier, I'm going to position this to where I can get to it. Again, just reverse order. Hold the motor up in the back there. Run these top two on hand tight to just hold it in place. And you can free your hand up so you can work on it. You want to make sure that that gets seated well once you tighten the screws down. And there's a little bit of play with these couplers. They're pretty forgiving as far as how you space them. But I'm going to snug that down a little bit. Let's see if I can get to that. Again, these bottom screws are definitely the most difficult to get to, which is why this long screwdriver is coming. It is saving the day on this deal here. I don't know if I can see that. Nope, missed it. This coupler here. So we're using these plastic, these 3D printed couplers, these here. So they actually have a little bit of flex and play into them, which is nice, and also can make it difficult if your screw doesn't line up, which this bottom one is not lining up super well. I think we got it. Shift that back a little. There we go. Tighten all your 4 bolts down. Tighten the coupler down. Get it? And you definitely, with the weight of the rig on everything, it definitely likes to move a little bit. So always be careful with obviously where you're putting your fingers. As I'm putting my fingers where on the part that rotates. Okay. Is that it? Yeah, none of the other ones were this much of a pain. All right. So now that that's done, nice and tight, what we noticed, the way that these were wired from the motor manufacturer, is that the polarity is different, or the color of the wire is different. And I did this on all the rest of them just to check it. So this is what the plug looks like without, like before it's completely assembled. So you have, this is the female pin. So in order to test it, I plug it in, 1 pin in a time. And when they're seated all the way, they don't touch. I mean, obviously you want to verify that you don't have any metal touching. So I've got black on red, red on black. So these were all different. So I plug it in like that, and then I turn the rig on and I make sure that it resets itself and that all the polarity is correct. And looks good. Then you turn it off. And then when we're ready to fully assemble that, I make sure that, again, black to red, red to the other one, and these just click into place. Very handy kit. And that's it. Ta-da!